Welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. So, is dust control mud worth it? All right, the short answer is no. In my experience, it's not. Okay, but it is true that the dust actually does fall mostly straight down. Now, on some of the older boxes and buckets, they used to actually say 70% less airborne dust. And I do believe that's actually true. Most of it does fall down. But here's the rub, that other 30% still creates pretty much just as much mess as you had to deal with before. So if you have to protect your job site from dust, even 30% of dust is still too much dust in a customer's house. So basically you still have to do the exact same amount of work for dust protection, whether you're using dust control or regular mud. That, in my experience, is why this stuff isn't worth it, because it doesn't actually save me any work, even though the claim right here is ideal for remodeling, less sanding mess. No, it's not less sanding mess, it's just dispersed a little bit differently. You still have to do the same work. Versatile for all drywall finishing steps. So what they mean there is that it's a lightweight all-purpose. So I can just buy a lightweight all-purpose, sand a little bit slower and less vigorously, and still create about 70% less airborne dust. So if I've got a small job, you know, just like a little wall like we've got over here, let's take a look at that. So for that small wall, all I have to do is just sand a little bit slower, and 70% of it is gonna fall straight down, and I'll get that 30% airborne dust. All right, also, as for how this stuff works, so I've also found that when sanding this mud, that it tends to clump up in the sanding pad and make your sanding actually go slower. So what's the benefit in that? I'm gonna be spending a little more time sanding anyways and possibly not doing as good a job because it's getting all clumped up. All right, so if there isn't actually huge benefits to this mud, why do they even have it? I'll tell you, one reason: boosted profits. That's my opinion. So if you can convince homeowners to spend $10 more per box for basically the same product, like I guarantee you that what they add to this mud is not $10 a bucket more. So basically they're probably getting an extra like $9 per box of mud and selling you more or less the same product to give you the peace of mind knowing that you're doing the best you can to protect the place from dust. So yeah, in my opinion, that's the only reason this stuff was actually created. It really doesn't cut down on the mess in any major way. So for me personally, I used it a couple times when it first came out about a decade ago, and I basically haven't used it since because I just don't find that it saves me any time or money. Anyways, that's my experience with the stuff. Let me know in the comments what your experience is with dust control mud. There's a bunch of different, ones from every other brand. I'm sure they all have their way of gouging you for more money for mud. But anyways, this is the CGC one. Real quickly, before I go, let's do a quick little run around and check out the job I'm doing and see why this stuff would have been so useless, especially on this job. All right, so we got this wall here, fireplace with a modern look. So I had to skim out all the cement board. And the main reason I got called here was because we had a ceiling to skim out. So this was a fairly heavily textured ceiling and it needed to be skimmed out. So what I did was I did 2 coats of finished mud. First coat applied by hand, really thick, let that dry enough, scraped it down. And then I did another coat rolling the mud on and then smoothing it off with a trowel. So the reason that we didn't wet and scrape this one down is it had been painted, and the only way to wet and scrape down a ceiling that's been painted is you first have to knock off all the nibs, get like a garden sprayer, spray it on, let it soak in, and slowly work your way across it. And it's a really messy, really dusty, really nasty job. It took me a lot less time to just apply one thick coat of finished mud. The other reason, and actually the much more important reason, is I don't know what's in the texture here. So this is a 50-year-old house. A lot of places, from about 1990 or earlier have a big risk of having asbestos in the texture. All right, I know some people are like, yeah, but if you wet it down, the asbestos can't get in the air. Well, first off, asbestos is typically best left to remediation companies. And second, in order to wet it down, you have to scrape the nibs off in the first place, which is going to expose it all over the place. And I didn't want to expose myself to that. I don't want to expose the customers to that. So that's why I just went with 2 thick coats, and it seemed to cover quite well. I'm gonna leave it for a couple of days so it gets lots of time to dry, come back, sand it out, and it's gonna look good in here. And obviously the dust control wouldn't have done anything here because I have, you know, the entire floor space worth of ceiling to sand, and it's gonna get really dusty in here, and it's gonna be like it snowed. Anyways, I just want to say a quick thanks for stopping by and watching Vancouver Carpenter. Let me know in the comments what your experiences are with dust control mud. Do you love spending more money for the same product? Let me know. And if you disagree, I'm sure you've already let me know and moved on and are now leaving hateful comments somewhere else. So good job spreading the love. Thanks for watching. Till the next video.